and welcome to this week's edition of the Majin News, the place where you can get a quick overview of the goings-on in the world of Dragon Ball from around the world. Now, without further ado, here are the biggest news announcements from the previous week. Funimation recently had to respond to concerns regarding the upcoming 30th anniversary release of Dragon Ball Z. Set to be limited to 6,000 copies, the Blu-ray box set containing 37 discs with all 291 episodes of the show included ran into controversial territories in regards to the quality of the visuals provided. In last week's Majin News, we had reported and showcased via the Kanzenshuu user Robo4900 that the video content used for the Blu-ray release was zoomed into and excessive noise reduction had been applied. As of today, there are just over 2,900 copies remaining to be reserved prior to the deadline of May the 5th. After that date, due to manufacturing limits, Funimation will no longer produce further copies of the entire collection. Various creators in the YouTube community had addressed their misgivings over the quality of the visuals provided for the limited edition box set, which led to hundreds of thousands of viewers over on YouTube being educated in the debacle. Last week, Funimation responded to this criticism with a statement on their website, which has now since been taken down. In it, Funimation responded thusly: "We have the materials for the entire Dragon Ball Z series from beginning to end, as a transfer from how they existed on film. Our previous Blu-ray releases for Dragon Ball Z were cropped to 16:9 to match modern standard sensibilities that have evolved over the years as widescreen has become much more adopted. But for this particular project, we wanted to release the series in 4:3 for the more hardcore subset of DBZ fans who want to experience the series with higher integrity. Regarding the image itself, there is some digital video noise reduction to clean up some of the noise, dust and grain from the original film materials, which we felt was mandatory for this release based on the different levels of fan support from various past DBZ releases with different levels of noise reduction over the years." Despite this response, fans are still not satisfied, with the YouTube channel Anime AJ describing this reply as contradictory. In Anime AJ's latest video on the matter, he describes that the contradiction is attributed to the phrase hardcore subset of DBZ fans who want to experience the series with higher integrity, and the phrase different levels of fan support, which was implied to surround sales figures and buyer fatigue. For further information, a link to AJ's video can be found clicking on the link above. One of the co-founders of Kanzenshuu, VegettoEX, has gone on record stating that if the quality presented within this new trailer is indicative of the intended final release, this is just the latest example in a long string of releases from the franchise's rights holders. We cannot in good conscience recommend fans purchase this release. The Blu-ray Collector's Edition is still available from Funimation's website and is due to be released in November of this year. The latest Dragon Ball game, Super Dragon Ball Heroes World Mission, has been rated on the aggregate review site Metacritic. On the website, 11 critics rated the game with a score of 70 out of a possible 100. Reviews of the game from critics range from this one from Area Ju Jones: "Super Dragon Ball Heroes World Mission is a real treat for the long-time fans of Dragon Ball, but it is even more than that. It is a profound strategy game that will take up a good number of hours to master, but in the end, it will all be part of a delightful effort." To this contribution from the user worth playing. It's difficult to be positive about Dragon Ball Heroes World Mission because you have to give it the benefit of the doubt and be a big Dragon Ball fan to enjoy it. The core game is pretty fun in a simple time-wasting way. To reach all of that though, you have to deal with awkward UI, convoluted explanations, and just about the worst graphics you'll see in a $60 game. Based on other reviews, the game appears to appeal to enthusiasts of the Dragon Ball franchise as a whole, but has a high barrier for entry for anybody who is relatively new to the franchise. In any case, Bandai's first worldwide release for a Dragon Ball Heroes related game has gone down fairly well, with 70,000 copies of the Switch version selling in Japan alone on its first week. International figures remain unknown at this time. The game is also available for PC users via Steam. The Dragon Ball fan convention kamehacon has taken place this weekend in Irving, Texas, with various fan fantasies coming true. In particular, one panel which contained 5 actors who had played Goku at various times in Dragon Ball's time on North American networks. The actors Corlett, Calamus, Nadolny, Castaneda and Morrow proceeded to recite the famous speech from the Namek saga of Dragon Ball Z, "I am the hope of the universe." This moment was captured by the YouTube user Sailor Gallifrey. You can find a link to the full video in the description and in the notes above. At the same event, 3 of the actors for the character Vegeta got together to perform the Gallic Gun attack, despite the withdrawal of the original Japanese actor for the character Vegeta, Ryo Horikawa, earlier this week. The actors Christopher Sabat, Brian Drummond and Rene Garcia still combined their powers and pleased fans, repeating a similar stunt at the 2018 kamehacon, also in Irving, Texas. The event, which has now hosted its 2nd event in America, is run by fans of the series and is the biggest single convention dedicated to Dragon Ball in the Western Hemisphere, with upwards of 20 actors from the series past attending. The UK version of this convention is due to take place in Manchester, England this August. The YouTuber Anime AJ, whom we have previously mentioned for his breaking news regarding the 30th anniversary collection of Dragon Ball Z, has now gone on to break another news story, this time surrounding the question of subtitles for the upcoming home release of Dragon Ball Super Brawley, due to release on April the 16th. Sharing a screenshot from Funimation's release, which contains various disclaimers, the DVD clarifies the situation as to the spelling of various characters such as Frieza. In the US markets, Frieza is spelled with an I instead of 2 E's. The disclaimer reads, "In accordance with the wishes of our licensors, the English subtitle track features character spellings provided courtesy of Toei Animation. The disclaimer is used to quell possible fan backlash through transparency, by stating that names are used at the behest of Toei Animation and not Funimation solely." Despite this, replies to AJ's tweet were saddened at the news. This may be relatively insignificant in the grand scheme of things, but this move by Funimation can be interpreted as damage limitation after weeks of tension between said company and their fanbase. And finally, Crunchyroll News reported Friday that a brand new line of clothing geared towards the female characters of the original Dragon Ball series has now been spotted. The clothing chain Natalie Store has released hoodies, shirts and keychains related to 4 of the female cast of Dragon Ball, including Bulma, Mai, Launch and Chi-Chi. The apparel is available to pre-order via Natalie Store's website, which is powered by Amazon.co.jp, which international users can access, and deliveries will begin in May and June. That is all for today's Majin News. If you have any news concerning Dragon Ball that may be of interest to us, use the hashtag MajinNews and we shall credit you and fact check the information. Thank you, and until next week, it's goodbye from us.